Hello again, everyone. This video is going to cover what we can do to help someone who may be suicidal. Number 1, take it seriously. Myth: the people who talk about it don't do it. Studies have found that more than 75% of all completed suicides did things in the few weeks or months prior to their deaths to indicate to others that they were in deep despair. Anyone expressing suicidal feelings need immediate attention. Myth: anyone who tries to kill himself has got to be crazy. Perhaps 10% of all suicidal people are psychotic or have delusional beliefs about reality. Most suicidal people suffer from the recognized mental illness of depression, but many depressed people adequately manage their daily affairs. The absence of craziness does not mean the absence of suicide risk. Those problems weren't enough to commit suicide over. That is something that is often said by people who knew a completed suicide. You cannot assume that because you feel something is not worth being suicidal about, that the person you are with feels the same way. It is not how bad the problem is, but how badly it's hurting the person that has the problem. Number 2, remember, suicidal behavior is a cry for help. Myth: if someone is going to kill him or herself, nothing can stop them. The fact that a person is still alive is sufficient proof that part of him or her wants to remain alive. The suicidal person is ambivalent. Part of him wants to live, and part of him wants not so much death as he wants the pain to end. It is part that wants to live that tells another, I feel suicidal. If a suicidal person turns to you, it is likely that he believes that you are among the caring, more informed about coping with misfortune, and more willing to protect his confidentiality. No matter how negative the manner and content of his talk, he or she is doing a positive thing and has a positive view of you. 3, be willing to give and get help sooner rather than later. Suicide prevention is not a last-minute activity. All textbooks on depression say it should be reached as soon as possible. Unfortunately, suicidal people are afraid that trying to get help may bring them more pain, being told that they are stupid, foolish, sinful, or manipulative. Rejection, punishment, suspension from school or jobs, written records of their condition, or involuntary commitment. You need to do everything you can to reduce pain, rather than increase or prolong it. Constructively involving yourself on the side of life as early as possible will reduce the risk to suicide. Number 4, listen. Give the person every opportunity to unburden the troubles and ventilate the feelings. You don't need to say much, and there are no magic words. If you are concerned, your voice and manner will show it. Give them relief from being alone with this pain. Let them know you are glad they turned to you. Patience, sympathy, acceptance. Avoid arguments and advice giving. Number 5, ask, are you having thoughts of suicide? Myth: talking about it may give someone the idea. People already have the idea. Suicide is constantly in the news media. If you ask a despairing person this question, you are doing a good thing for them. You are showing them that you care about them, that you take them seriously, and that you are willing to let them share the pain with you. You are giving them further opportunity to discharge pent up and painful feelings. If the person is having thoughts of suicide, find out how far along the ideation has progressed. 6. If the person is acutely suicidal, do not leave them alone. If the means are present, try to get rid of them. Detoxify the home. 7. Urge professional help. Persistence and patience may be needed to seek, engage, and continue with as many options as possible. In any referral situation, let the person know you care and want to maintain contact. 8. No secrets. It is the part of the person that is afraid of more pain that says, "Don't tell anyone." It is the part that wants to stay alive that tells you about it. Respond to the part of the person and persistently seek out a mature and compassionate person with whom you can review the situation. You can get outside help and still protect the person from pain, causing breaches of privacy. Do not try to go it alone. Get help from a person and for yourself. Distributing the anxieties of responsibility of suicide prevention makes it easier and much more effective. 9. From crisis to recovery. Most people have suicidal thoughts or feelings at some point in their lives, yet less than 2% of all deaths are suicides. Nearly all suicidal people suffer from conditions that will pass with time or with the assistance of a recovery program. There are hundreds of modest steps that we can take to improve our response to the suicidal and to make it easier for them to seek help. Taking these modest steps can save many lives and reduce the great deal of human suffering. Warning signs. Conditions associated with increased risk of suicide. Death or terminal illness of relative or friend. Divorce, separation, broken relationships, and stress on family. Loss of health, real or even imaginary. Loss of job, home, money, status, self-esteem, personal security. Alcohol or drug abuse. Depression. In the young, depression may be masked by hyperactivity or acting out behavior. In the elderly, it may be incorrectly attributed to the natural effects of aging. Depression that seems to quickly disappear for no apparent reason is a cause for concern. The early stages of recovery from depression can be a high-risk period. Recent studies have associated anxiety disorders with increased risk for attempted suicides. Emotional and behavioral changes associated with suicide. Overwhelming pain. Pain that threatens to exceed the person's pain coping capacities. Suicidal feelings are often the result of long-standing problems that have been exacerbated by recent participating events. The precipitating factors may be new pain or the loss of pain coping resources. Hopelessness. The feeling that the pain will continue or get worse, things will never get better. Powerlessness. The feeling that one's resources for reducing pain are exhausted. Feelings of worthlessness, shame, guilt, self-hatred, no one cares. Fears of losing control, harming self or others. Personality becomes sad, withdrawn, tired, apathetic, anxious, irritable, or prone to angry outbursts. declining performance in school, work, or other activities. Occasionally the reverse, someone who volunteers for extra duties because they need to fill up their time. Social isolation, or association with a group that has different moral standards than those of the family. Declining interest in sex, friends, or activities previously enjoyed. Neglect of personal welfare, deteriorating physical appearance. Alterations in either direction in sleeping or eating habits. Particularly in the elderly, self-starvation, dietary mismanagement, and disobeying medical instructions. Difficult times. Holidays, anniversaries, and the week after discharge from a hospital, just before and after diagnosis of a major illness, just before and during disciplinary proceedings. Undocumented status adds to the stress of a crisis. Suicidal behavior. Previous suicide attempts or many attempts. Explicit statement of suicide, ideation, or feelings. Development or suicidal plan, acquiring the means, rehearsal behavior, setting a time for the attempt. Self-inflicted injuries such as cuts, burns, or headbanging. Reckless behavior. Besides suicide, other leading causes of death among young people are homicide, accidents, drug overdoses, unexplained accidents among children and the elderly. Making out a will or giving away favorite possessions. Inappropriately saying goodbye. Verbal behavior that is ambiguous or indirect. I'm going away on a real long trip. You won't have to worry about me anymore. I want to go to sleep and never wake up. I'm so depressed. I just can't go on. Does God punish suicides? Voices are telling me to do bad things. Requests for euthanasia information. Inappropriate joking, stories, or essays on morbid themes. A warning about warning signs. The majority of the population at any time does not have many of the warning signs and has a lower suicide risk rate. But a lower rate in a larger population is still a lot of people, and many completed suicides had only a few of the conditions listed above. In a one person to another person situation, all indications of suicidality needs to be taken seriously. You can find links to hotlines and chat lines in the community tab.